Hey there, Janae with Palin Projects here, and in today's video I am digging up my dahlia tubers. So some great advice that I got from like the queen of dahlias here in our area was after the first frost to leave them in the ground for a couple of weeks, just so that they die back, put all of their energy into their tubers and start to create their eyes. Just so that you know what I'm talking about, I planted dahlia tubers early on this year with you guys. This is a tuber that I planted, or I dug up. Now it's starting to get a little dehydrated because it's been sitting on our kitchen table for I think about 2 weeks now. So I'm going to try and save what I can. Cut them down, make sure that all the tubers have eyes, everything looks good, and try and save what I can. I might have ruined my dahlia tuber stash though. Which, as unfortunate as it is, yes, it's very unfortunate, but I can buy more. I don't have to save these. This is just a step that I try and do to A, give away as presents, because one dahlia tuber can turn into many, like you'll see. And two, if I can save these guys, then I don't have to buy them. So this is a dahlia tuber. So here's the tuber. This is a root off of the end of it. Here is an eye to, oh, it's not focusing. Let's get it to focus. There we go. This is an eye, and then the neck of the tuber. So if any part of this tuber gets damaged, it is no good. Where I live, we have to dig these up. Our winters are too cold. They rot in the ground. They, yeah, they freeze, they rot. They can't stay in the ground, so we have to dig them up. I store mine in vermiculite. I've tried pine shavings. I've tried putting them in plastic bags, wrapping them. I don't know why, but vermiculite works for me. It worked last year. We're going to keep with it this year. But if at any time, like if you slice this tuber, if you break this neck off, if you break this eye off, at any time this tuber gets broke or damaged in some way, shape, or form, your tuber's dead. So just make sure that you aren't damaging it. Now I can break off, I don't know if I have a pair of scissors. I do, but they're all the way back there. I can cut this off if I want to, and I probably will when I get it outside to clean it up. But if I break off this eye, that's the growth point. So that's where the new shoot will come. The new stem for the dahlia will come out of next year. So if I break that off, done. If I break this neck, that's how the nutrients in the tuber get to the eye to produce that stem. Dead. If I, sometimes you can possibly get away with nicking the tube or the tuber. I typically, those ones, for me, they typically just, they rot. So I'll throw those away. But, you know, if you damage the tuber like at the very end, or like, you know, you cut this off a little too close to the tuber, it might, so that's probably your best part of damaging. If you had a choice to damage a part of the tuber, that would be the choice. But you know, it happens. You'll see because I did record this about 2 weeks ago, me digging up my tubers. I think I show you one of them that I got with my shovel. Had to throw it away. If you chop, like, especially into the middle of the tuber, you have to throw it away. It's no good anymore. So, like I said, I think there's enough life in these tubers left that I can try and save them. They are a little squishy and a little dehydrated, but we'll see. It's worth a shot. They go into the vermiculite, which I was going to show you guys. I have a giant bag of vermiculite. It's super light material. It actually kind of reminds me of insulation. So like the insulation that's in the attic, it kind of reminds me of that. Let me see if I can, that is vermiculite. Dirty hands. But that's what I used last year. Can you guys see it a little bit maybe? I don't know. It's kind of like a fine powder. It's super light. I have known people to kind of mist the vermiculite a little bit while sorry, I got vermiculite all over me now. Kind of mist the vermiculite, get it moist, and then surround their dahlia tubers in it. I just went dry last year and then I threw them in my garage. So they have a spot close to the wall of our house in the garage, so they have a little bit of warmth. But you know, they worked. It worked out there. So instead of putting it under the house like I did a couple years ago, I'm going to do that again because it worked, and then I'll cover it with a fleece blanket. And I think that took enough of the edge off of it that it saved the tubers. So we'll see what we get. We'll cut them apart and put them into my box full of vermiculite. I am reusing the vermiculite, so I didn't throw it away. I'm going to reuse it. And we'll see next spring if any of my tubers were saved. So let's get into it. Okay, so here's the eye. That's the good eye. I can only see one on here after cleaning this up and brushing off the dirt. So I'm going to cut this off, cut these off, and probably just leave these two tubers. I forgot to mention before, I am marking on on the tubers what they are, just as gifts, so I can tell people what they are. Otherwise, I wouldn't necessarily need to know what they are, but I'm choosing to do that, just so I know what they are when I give them away. Okay, there's my tubers. And some seeds that I'm saving from some broccoli. But I don't know if I showed you guys a full picture of my mound of dahlias. It took up 3 basically cookie sheets, but each one of these, so I did leave 2 tubers on some, and then I have singles, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 or 14 tubers that I'll try and save this year. Okay, so I'm not using an airtight box. As you can see, it's a cardboard box. And I am going to move the vermiculite. Oh, look at that, I found a treasure. I'm going to move the vermiculite to one side, leaving a layer on the bottom. Okay, and then I'm just going to nestle the tubers like this, making sure that they don't touch and that I can get vermiculite into all of the crevices of the tubers. And then we'll move. I feel like a cat. Again, I'm making sure that those tubers aren't touching and that there's vermiculite in between them so that they don't rot. I need to remove you. And I'm doing any last minute cleanup that I see needs to be done. That's my last big one. So it should be pretty smooth sailing, and I should be able to get them all in here. So I'm gonna put the lid back on this. And then, like I said before, I'm gonna cover it with a fleece blanket and put it in our garage to sit until next spring. So some differences I did from this year to last year. I separated my tubers in the fall. This year, for next season, for the 2022 growing season, I separated my tubers in the fall. For the 2021 growing season, I separated my tubers in the spring, mainly because that was one of my first times. I've done it in the past, but unsuccessfully, saving tubers over. And I didn't feel comfortable trying to find the eyes and what should I cut off and what shouldn't I cut off. I was a little more confident today, and I went a little Western on the tubers, so I cut a lot off. I figured cutting more off the better, especially with the state that they're in. Some of them looked a little worse for their wear. Others, they probably will survive pretty good, but some of them, they were pretty dehydrated from sitting on our counter. Things that I would change. Next year, when I dig the tubers, I will let them sit out here for a day or two. Mainly, why I did that. This year, I let them sit a little too long. Why I wanted to do that was to make sure that all of that dirt that was in all of those crevices had dried up. So it was a little bit easier for me to clean out. Next year, I'll set them out on the table and let them dry, maybe put a fleece blanket or something like that over the top of them to keep the frost off of them. I might even put them in our garage, but just for like a day or two. So I might dig on a Wednesday and separate on a Saturday. Separating the tubers in the fall was much easier than separating them in the springtime. I definitely enjoyed that better. Make sure you have a sharp pair of pruners. I did not sharpen these before we started, but they were already pretty sharp. I just think I just cut myself. We're just gonna lock those and put those away. But make sure you have a very sharp pair of pruners. It makes it a lot easier. You're not cutting multiple times and or tearing the tubers, so preventing damage with those sharp pruners. I hope I got it on video, unless my camera shut off. But I tried to clean everything up, take roots off, clear out the dirt, and then I started to pare down the tubers. So anything that looked like it had been shriveled up wasn't going to be viable. Stuff like that, I cut off and I let it drop to the ground. I tried separating. Most tubers you can separate maybe like down the middle, it seemed like, or at least the majority of mine I could. I could break apart, and then I had two separate plants. That seemed to work well, but being gentle and not breaking those eyes off was a little bit of a hard time with brushing that dirt off. And I think that's why if I was to only let the tubers sit for a couple of days rather than a couple of weeks, those eyes would have been a little more hardy and could have withstood a little bit more. So all in all, I think I probably, if these survive the winter, I will have more dahlia plants than I did this year, so that's positive. A couple of them, the names got away from me, so I didn't label them. We'll have to see what they do or what they bloom. Hi, Shelbers. So that'll be fun. Hi, girl. I won't give those away. I'll only give away the ones that I am truly aware of, just so that I know what I'm giving to people. So yeah, I hope they survive, and check back in, I don't know, a couple of months and see what happens and see if I did right this year. By no means is this a like how-to-ish. It kind of is, because I kind of know what I'm doing, but at the same time, I'm not super confident in it. So I wouldn't take this as, a hard, fast rules. Saf, you are in the way. Off. This is more to show you, you know, what has worked for me in the past, what I'm doing this year, kind of a little PSA to dig your dahlias, separate, and store them for next year so you're not going out and buying more dahlias. But yeah, I think it's more of an experiment, lessons learned, I guess. I'm learning every season, and hopefully I'll get better each time. So like I said, this year I learned don't let your dahlias sit on the kitchen table for 2 weeks. But you know, time gets away from you, life gets away from you. I think they're still going to be viable. I think I'm still going to have some good dahlias next year. So if I have one dahlia, I will consider this a success. I mean, that's one less dahlia that I have to buy next spring. So you might as well give it a shot. I mean, what's the worst that happens is you don't have any. Well, if you threw them away or if you left them in the ground to rot, you wouldn't have any either. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it, is I just want to get one, and you know, if they all survive and they all work out, great. If they don't, I'm not out anything except a little bit of time and a box. So the girls are playing. The corgi thinks that she's a big dog. Huh, Delbs? You gotta put her in her place, huh? Yeah. So, anywho, I'm gonna go kick a ball for these guys because apparently they got a lot of energy and need to burn some. So, I'm gonna go kick their ball and have a good evening with the family. So, I hope you enjoyed watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.